been a while since we've talked. And by talking, I mean you listening to me talk for like good 20 to 30 minutes. But it's nice to see you. It is December 4 today. And within those 4 days of the beginning of December, I've already killed myself 50 times in my head. So it's kind of safe to assume I'm not having the best time of my life right now, but I'm hoping that 2026 will be kind to me. I am only 15 minutes old, and it will take me in as... it will welcome me in its arms, hopefully. But right now, 6, 7, right? I'm trying to romanticize going to school so I can just get through the day, like, you know, have my stupid fucking notebooks and my laptop and just clicking and clacking away, even though I am not really doing the best. And I'm trying to romanticize life as it is. And I don't know if that's the best thing. Is that the best idea? I mean, are you also stuck romanticizing your life? I don't know, or is that just me? Because sometimes it feels like it's just me, but I know it isn't, because I know you can get pretty delusional as fuck too. So, let's talk about it. Okay, so I've read this book recently called The Secret Life by Donna Tartt, which all of you may know. The book, not the fact that I'm reading it, but it's very popular. I'm sure everybody has heard of it. There's a passage at the very beginning of the book that says, I wrote it down right here, "There's such a thing as the fatal flaw, that showy dark crack running down the middle of a life, exists outside literature. I used to think it didn't. Now I think it does, and I think that mine is this, a morbid longing for the picturesque at all cost." First of all, bars, bitch. Like, whoa. Bars. I can't. Okay. Anyways, the characters go through the most craziest, stupidest shit ever, indulge themselves in revelries to reach some sort of philosophical fulfillment. And they were such horrible, horrible, horrible people. And honestly, they were also kind of annoying. But I kind of found myself relating to them to some extent. Not because I want to do the heinous shit that they did, but because I kind of understand what it means to, like, wanting to cultivate a picturesque life at all cost. But what does that mean exactly? And does that mean anything for you? Does that mean anything for me, really? So we're going to figure it out together. I think that a big part of cultivating a picturesque life is romanticization. But what does that mean, really? Romanticizing something? For me, I think that romanticizing something comes from idealizing. Whoa. Fuck my English right there. Idealizing something that is much more glamorous than it really is, right? So I feel like this idea also became more prominent when COVID happened. You know, we were all stuck at home and this virus is spreading, and we kind of had time in our hands for just a bit where we were kind of alone with ourselves, and you know, we fucking made coffee and we gardened and shit just to cope with it. Not me though. Probably you did, but I didn't do it because I kind of rotted and I just read fan fiction and watched TV shows and binged all day and slept all day. But okay, romanticization I feel like comes in different forms. Again, for me, it could be as little as you're romanticizing your school, right? It's when you buy stationery and write pretty notes in your notebook, and you go to fucking the local cafe shop just for the aesthetics, because that's what's gonna keep you going. You want to kind of make it feel good, even though it doesn't feel good sometimes to study, but you make it feel good so you keep doing it. or when you idealize work to be something much more grand than it really is, so you can somewhat enjoy it. You get what I'm trying to say here? And it could also materialize in big ways, like romanticizing your relationship, even though it's like shit, but you want to keep going, so you kind of ignore all that bad things and then just make the good things, even as little as they are, bigger, you know? I believe that these manifestations stem from two things: main character energy, I know, bear with me, and self-preservation. A lot of people I know do shit just for the plot, right? And I fucking see that thing everywhere too. I see it on pillows and quotes and whatever the fuck. But a lot of people do shit just for the plot. And I understand that too. I've dabbled in some fuckery once or twice just because I thought it would be a great, funny story in the future. Which actually reminds me, like a couple weeks ago, bitch, oh my god, I went and drank and yeah, okay, main character energy. Some people get stuck in the main character energy delusion, but I mean, we've done it. I mean, I've been there. As long as you're not hurting anybody or anyone or yourself, I mean, go for it. But sometimes we get lost into this idea that we are the main characters in life, so the bad things that happen to us must supplement a bigger arc to our story, our very own adversary to our own characters, if you will. Like, car wreck, right? That's just something to tell the boys. Getting cheated on, that's for your comeback story. And, you know, doing drugs, that's gonna get you snatched. Even though we don't intrinsically feel that every time something bad happened to us, it's like an automatic, oh, this is just for the plot. I mean, of course, sometimes it hurts and it's painful, but sometimes we don't confront that pain or that negative feelings that we feel about that pain or tragedy just so we could wish for like a much more fruitful return. And what I mean by that is, instead of facing it head on, we kind of turn the other cheek towards whatever we're going through because it's much more painful than it is bearable. So we tend to highlight the best things in life and romanticize that aspect and kind of pretend that the other side is not happening at all. And, you know, again, it's different for everybody, but I kind of see patterns with other people and myself too when it comes to, you know, when something bad happens and then I just can't process it right away. So I kind of look forward to the other things in my life. Which actually brings me to the second point, self-preservation. We romanticize life because we have no choice. And sometimes it feels like that's the only time we have semblance of controls in our life is when we become a little bit delusional. Losing a loved one, for example, that it feels painful. It's like agony. But you look towards the good things in your life because you don't want to kind of think about loneliness, misery, and death. Those ideas that cloud your mind that are negative. I grew up in a Catholic household, and you know, when a family member dies or there's a big great typhoon that strands us in our home, some people say to rejoice because it's all part of God's plan. And you know, sometimes you do just have to idealize these situations because then what? You'd have to face the ideas of adversaries that you have if it comes in, you know, family problems or poverty or loneliness and depression. I mean, it's kind of not enticing to think about. So you kind of look forward to the other stuff and maybe glamorize that a little bit because these ideas and these negative thoughts, are not really the most exciting thing in the world. It reminds me of these philosophical ideas, the beautiful and the sublime. And walk with me here, I am not a philosophy major, I'm just an enthusiast. I don't really fucking know like the ins and out of philosophy, and I'm not all knowing. But I am going to remix Immanuel Kant's version of the sublime and Edmund Burke's sublime. And are they kind of conflicting with one another? Kind of, yes. And should I remix it? Not really. But I am going to do what Christians do best, and I am going to cherry pick from each version, just like what they do in the Bible. So the beautiful is this idea that there are experiences, aesthetics, and objects that brings us pleasure. And they are kind of desirable for their diminutive scale. They're kind of like, I guess, as opposed to sublime, it is much more bigger. The sublime is something that brings us pleasure along with displeasure, and it usually comes in an infinite form, or at least it kind of feels that way. It's when you're faced with a physical, in Burke's case, or mental, in Kant's case, infinite scale, where it makes us feel so small. In Kant's mathematical viewpoint, there is this idea that even though something feels infinite, it's not. Like when you look at cliffs or mountains, and you feel scared because of the height and how big it is, but you know it's not infinite, but it feels like it is. Or in a dynamical viewpoint where you are faced with nature and it feels so much bigger than it actually is when there's like a storm, because it usually kind of is. It's a storm, and you can take precautions and you can take for cover, but the storm will be there whether you like it or not. But as Burke theorizes, that even though these experiences we have that feels infinite and crazy and I'm making a video. You got me my cake! Thank you! Sorry, I got distracted for a second. My mom bought me cake. She said that she wasn't gonna do it, but she did. Thank you. But as Burke theorizes, even though that these experiences can be scary, intimidating, and agonizing, they can also bring us delight. And how, okay. Like Kant's dynamical viewpoint, the storm, right? Let's say you're stuck in a storm out in the sea and you only have a wooden plank to hold on to. You hold on to that plank and all you can think about is that every single disturbance, annoyance, everything that irks you up to that point, everything that broke your heart, kind of feels minuscule at that point, right? How could you have felt these crazy things and have such big emotions at what happened before when there are so much more infinite experiences and that are much more powerful than you are, right? When you survive the storm, the delight that comes from the extraction of pain, the extraction of holding onto that plank, feels like bliss. Because in a way, to feel pleasure, you have to feel displeasure. You have to feel the discomfort of life. You understanding what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm saying it right, but if you catch my drift, like and subscribe, leave a comment below, tell me what you're thinking, if I'm making sense. Say, bitch, you're not making sense. Type 1 if you think I'm making sense, type 2 if I'm not making sense, type 3 if you're a little horny because of how good I look right now. Let's shift to something else, wabi-sabi. And I know people are kind of making fun of it a little bit on TikTok. I've been seeing all kind of TikToks about people making fun of it or kind of making it as a joke. But it is one of the most important foundation of philosophy, or Japanese philosophy, that we have learned. So we're gonna talk about it. Wabi sabi doesn't actually have a true equivalent to English. So for us to understand what wabi sabi means, we have to power through what wabi means to go through sabi to understand it as a whole. Why do I keep burping? Fuck. Wabi comes from the word wabishi, and I'm sorry if I'm not saying it right. But it denotes loneliness and misery, those negative emotions. Or sometimes it's been described as the feeling you get when you're alone and isolated in nature. Live through life with these negative emotions present, you kind of have to not glamorize the pain. I mean, being in pain, being in poverty, being sick is not, it's not ideal. It's not romantic, and you know that. But these experiences of discomfort have to be faced head on. And just because you are resilient doesn't mean you are invulnerable to sadness and pain, but the only way out is through. So you have to face it. It hurts, it's painful, it's agonizing, but you have to kind of face it head on. There is no other way. Sabi, on the other hand, signifies wear and tear. It's aging and transient, and it's kind of like when you buy a leather bag and it only gets more beautiful the more that you use it. Wabi sabi is the beauty of the imperfect. It is the slightly broken, fragile, and a little bit damaged. And it's kind of beautiful in the way that it is like cute. Ew, I know, right? I'm getting mushy. But just fucking bear with me. It's beautiful because you're not stagnant and you're constantly changing. You are changing physically and mentally. You bear the differences and imperfections of all the years that led you up to this very specific moment. Whether it's your behavior, the art you make, the sports that you do, swimming, running, whatever, and soccer, football, the art that you make, you write, you create poetry, essays, whatever, and all these stuff. You make mistakes throughout the entirety of it, right? It's, I mean, it's unavoidable, you make mistakes. But even though these mistakes happened, it's not something to shy away from. It's just something, it's actually something you kind of have to be proud of. And I'm still learning this, of course. I myself, whenever I make a mistake, no matter how big, how small, how fucking crazy it gets, I feel it on a personal level. But I'm trying to unlearn these ideas of that I'm trying to unlearn this idea that making mistakes make you weak or makes you flawed. Which actually it does make you flawed, but taking it on a personal level. And I shouldn't be, and you shouldn't be, because it's something to be proud of. Because that means if you didn't do well on the first time, then there's room for improvement. You have felt the gravity of wabi sabi when it comes to maybe fashion, architecture, in kintsugi. You've felt it, you've seen it, you know what it is already. Okay, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, bitch, why are you bringing this whole up? And why are you on a fucking tangent? And, okay, just walk with me, right? It is perfectly fine why we tend to romanticize life. Why we look towards the best thing in life and not confront the negative feelings that we usually have, right? And Albert Camus says it the best, and I'm so sorry, I'm gonna bring up another kind of philosophy. Albert Camus says it the best about Sisyphus, right? Okay, Sisyphus is the Greek dude who is doomed to roll a boulder up a hill forever, and then it'll literally just like fall right back on. Or at least that's how I remember it. But he says it the best. Albert says it, I'm gonna call him Albert. I hope that's okay. Albert says it the best because I can't say his last name. He said it the best that while rolling that boulder up that hill, Sisyphus must have found something to make him happy, knowing that it'll roll back roll back again. And then he'll have to do it again and again and again. We ourselves are constantly rolling up a fucking boulder in our everyday life. And if you're not, then I'm really happy for you. I'm a little jealous, but good for you. But this idea that we feel pain and hardship through this meaningless life, or meaningful if you believe in existentialism, and for an uncertain purpose, right? We have to make the most out of it. There's a lot of pain and displeasure, and sometimes it feels really good just to hold on to the good things in life, right? And to have this belief that even though something bad happened to me today, that maybe it's for a reason, maybe it's literally nothing, but this bad thing happened to me, and that's okay, because then it'll make me be a better person, and it'll make me grow, and it'll keep me going. We're almost wired to see the beauty in darkness and in pain and all that bullshit. And sometimes it also just feels good to have the simple pleasures of life, you know, maladaptive daydreaming, like fucking wanting to feel good even though your life is shit and it's also kind of just in your head, but you still do it because it's what keeps you going. I know that I still, at my big age at 22, that I still fucking maladaptive daydreaming because I like looking forward to the non-realistic parts of my life, you know? It's something to fucking keep me going. And my therapist have said it's not really normal to kind of do it every day at every possible hour, but there is a certain balance to it, okay? The balance. You have to find it. All that matters is you confront negative emotions, period. Let yourself grieve, be sad, cry, and then just get up. You ride the wave until the sun's down, and you'll feel so much better because you get out of it, you know? I mean, it won't feel good. It might not feel good today, tomorrow, or even the next day, or the next month, or the next year. Healing isn't very particularly linear. But one day you will wake up and it'll feel great because you got out of the situation that you got out of. Stop! But don't get lost in the sauce now, okay? Just because I'm telling you that it's okay to romanticize your life and feel the good things out of life doesn't mean that it can't be detrimental to us sometimes. Again, find that balance. It genuinely, like, romanticizing it genuinely brings out the most delusional versions of yourself. So you have to find the balance, and I'm so sorry I'm saying balance all the time, but it genuinely is just something you have to kind of learn. Okay, let's bring up one of the examples of relationships, right? So-and-so did this to me and it fucking hurts, and then you just think, I can't do it, but I can't leave them because I fucking had a whole wedding up in my head, and I wrote down our baby names on my notes app, and I can't let Braylee and fucking Kaylee and fucking Bradley down because I already fucking dedicated my life and my whatever, bitch. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just because you are with this person doesn't mean that they are everything. Oh, find the goddamn balance. Chill, and just remember, not everything needs a reaction. Like, he's just a man. Or a woman, or a non-binary person, but if he's just a man, he's just a man. Stop romanticizing your partner. Like, some of these bitches are swagless and hideous and fucking horrible. You know, they don't even take care of you. So stop it. There's nothing wrong with seeing the beauty in pain and darkness out of relationships and people. But that's not what it always looks like. You know what I mean? Like, there's this quote, and I'm probably butchering it, but it's like from a book, that if you lived in a burning house, then you think the world is on fire, but it's not. It's so easy to get lost between the reality and aspirations. So if there is like something in the back of your mind, a voice, just even a tiny speckle that's telling you that this is wrong, just please do yourself the courtesy of listening to yourself. Please. If you know in your heart there's might be something wrong, then voice it out and bounce. So all in all, feel free to romanticize your life, but responsibly, just like with everything. And, you know, make yourself feel good. Go out on a walk, exercise, take yourself out on dates, go meet with your friends, talk to your friends. Anything that will make you feel good. I don't really give a shit what you fucking do as long as you're not hurting yourself or your others. But as long as when that pain eventually comes, that all I ask is that you face it head on. And, you know, all that shit that we talked about, like absurdism and the beautiful and wabi-sabi, all that shit. And just keep that in mind in the back of your head, that when the pain comes, you're gonna be all right. You're gonna be okay. Well, you are greatly loved. And you know what? I'll just leave you with this.
Legalize nuclear bombs.